Snow is covering more than half of the lower 48 states after this monster winter storm swept through. You can see down on 7th Avenue here in New York City, traffic is moving after sanitation workers have been hard at work clearing these streets. The mayor saying the worst of the storm is behind us and that this city is up and running. A monster winter storm is making its way across the U.S., battering 2/3 of the U.S. population with snow, ice, and brutally cold temperatures.
Wild, 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 wild. I haven't seen snow like this in years.
Completely frozen. What the heck?
Schools have been canceled or moved to remote learning, and flight disruptions have continued to climb, with Sunday marking the most cancellations since the COVID-19 pandemic. Ice coating trees and power lines in the south is damaging on its own, but the wind is adding an extra danger. Widespread power outages in the Nashville metropolitan area could last for days, according to the electric utility Nashville Electrical Service. In Louisiana, people are riding out the storm in warming centers after officials confirmed 2 men died from hypothermia. Up north in New York City, Mayor Zohran Mamdani says there are thousands of sanitation workers out on city streets and plows have started to clear roadways.
We really encourage you to stay home. Staying home is the safest thing you can do. It's the best thing for our city workers.
At least 20 states have declared a state of emergency in response to the historic winter storm, and many will experience its lingering effects for days and even weeks as the cold temperatures stick around. Now, unfortunately, across the country, the death toll continues to rise as a result of this storm. Here in New York City, officials say 7 people died over the weekend as a result of these frigid temperatures. In Central Park, I'm Lee Waldman.
Winter weather still wreaking havoc on the nation's capital. We are seeing more and more signs like this. Plows and de-icers trying to clear these streets covered in 7.5 inches of snow, followed by 3.5 inches of sleet. The snow is moving out, but crews are still working around the clock to clear roads. More than a dozen states got at least a foot of snow, from New Mexico through Illinois to Pennsylvania and New York. Down south, tree branches and power lines snapped under the weight of ice. At the storm's peak, more than 1 million customers were without electricity, mostly in Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Utility crews say it could be days before service is restored. And now extreme cold is threatening to cause more outages and refreeze roads. Warming centers are opening up across the country for people needing a place to stay. For those traveling, airlines have been forced to cancel more than 20,000 flights since Friday. Another 16,000 were delayed. The FAA says air travel should normalize by midweek. President Trump approved emergency declarations from about a dozen states, freeing up federal aid. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
It has been a very active scene between the Welcome Center along I-40 and Van Buren for the last 24 hours or so. We've seen multiple jackknife tractor trailers. When we arrived on scene at the Welcome Center just after 4 this morning, there were 2 disabled tractor trailers in the ditches. Now, luckily, they were recovered by tow equipment just after 7:30 this morning, and it's been relatively clear ever since, but the conditions of I-40 are still very poor. Now, RDOT did a good job of getting rid of that hard packed snow that had covered the I-40 all weekend long, but now there is just bare ice on I-40, and that's going to cause trouble, especially if you have a 2-wheel drive vehicle or if you're just trying to drive anywhere really on I-40. That ice is going to cause problems, especially if you have to stop quickly. So if you are venturing out this afternoon along I-40, give yourself extra time and extra distance between vehicles. I'm Nate Benson. Back to you.
Did you know that you can get weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus? Here's how. Go to Fox 54 Plus on your Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, or Samsung. Once you're on the main screen, push the down arrow and click on the Fox 54 Plus Weather Impact 24/7 block. Here, you'll find radar, current temperatures and conditions, traffic cams, forecasts, and more, all available on demand. Want to get back to the main channel? Just push the down arrow and click on the 24/7 stream button. It's your weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus. Start streaming today.
Whether it's shoveling snow or de-icing your car, winter weather can be hard work, especially for your heart.
You're going out into very chilly weather, which it could also be a very different climate than you're accustomed to, so a stressor to the body, trying to do something that's incredibly physically challenging.
Dr. Tamana Singh with Cleveland Clinic says in the cold, our bodies are also working to maintain core temperature, straining the heart as blood vessels constrict. Blood pressure and heart rate both rise. For those who already have heart problems, it can be dangerous.
This is why we tend to see a number of heart attacks or cardiac consequences when people are shoveling snow or doing a lot of heavy effort, high intense work in cold weather or snowy conditions.
To protect your heart, Singh says not to underestimate the weather. If you go outside, dress in layers and wear sweat-wicking clothing. Cover areas that lose heat like ears and your head. Put on thick wool socks and gloves.
Put in some breaks if you're shoveling. Ask for some help. If there's a better time of day to do some of that shoveling, like under the heat of the sun, I would certainly advocate for that.
And be aware of red flag symptoms, including chest pain or discomfort, jaw pain or tightness, and general unease. Singh says if something feels off, get inside and call 911.
I definitely encourage all of my patients to be safe rather than sorry in these situations.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Walking the streets of New York, you're seeing fur coats everywhere. So what happened? How did fur come back into style? For most of its history, fur was the ultimate status symbol. But in recent decades, it's become controversial due to concerns around animal cruelty. But now consumers are realizing the merits of wearing vintage fur over faux alternatives, and it's making something of a comeback. The history of fur is the history of controversy. Humans began wearing fur over 300,000 years ago in order to keep warm, but over the centuries it became closely associated with power and wealth. As time went on, imitation fur and woven substitutes also grew alongside the fur trade to provide cheaper alternatives. And by the late 1800s, fur farming had expanded in order to make fur even more available to fashionable men and women. In the early 20th century, fur became a symbol of the aspiration and decadence of Hollywood. And that had a big impact on American women. By the 1950s, a mink fur coat was something that many American middle-class women aspired to own. Fur always conforms to the spirit of its moment. So in the 1970s, it was a throwback to a glitzier era or a symbol of hard-won success. And in the 1980s, it was a must-have on Park Avenue, where the already rich were getting richer. In the 2000s, Black musicians and actors were regularly seen wearing extravagant furs, challenging masculine fashion norms. Big Boy had a particularly iconic collection. By the beginning of the 21st century, animal rights groups began targeting the use of fur in fashion, and those efforts were largely successful. Brands like Chanel and Gucci have banned the use of fur. So it may come as a surprise that many consumers are starting to see vintage furs as the more sustainable alternative, because faux fur is derived from plastic, and wearing a vintage fur means that you're wearing something that's already been in circulation. In fact, The RealReal says that searches for vintage fur coat are up a whopping 191%. And many designer brands continue to use shearling to make new coats because they're using something that's a byproduct of the agricultural industry, which means it would have been discarded anyways. Shoppers feel like it's glamorous or fashionable to make the more morally conscious choice because they're wearing something that's secondhand or is made with a more morally conscious material. Which makes you wonder whether we've exchanged the bragging rights of fur being about wealth to bragging rights of making a more ethical consumer choice. Would you wear fur?
I need to find my daughter.
One battle after another keeps finding more awards. The Paul Thomas Anderson film was honored at this year's USC Libraries Scripter Awards, honoring the year's best adapted screenplays. The film is inspired by the Thomas Pynchon novel Vineland. The episodic series prize went to Death by Lightning, based on Candace Millard's nonfiction book about the assassination of President James Garfield.
I'm excited to announce for the first time ever, the genre this year is dramedy.
Nick Novicki hit Sundance to launch the 13th Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge. The annual event gives teams 5 days to write and produce short films promoting disability inclusion. This year's challenge is set for March 24th through the 29th. Prizes include cash, computers and other equipment, screenings at Oscar-qualifying film festivals, and mentorship meetings with entertainment industry executives and talent. Registration is now open at disabilityfilmchallenge.com. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
You find you're pretty familiar when you're ignored. This time it's gonna be different, all said and done.
That's Red Fox performing Over a Life from their new album, Retcon. The band is fronted by video game streamer Vinny Vinesauce.
I feel hung up 'cause there's never enough of the time.
I play guitar and I sing, I write the songs, and one of the cool things about the band is because of my streaming, people do find the band and they come out to shows, and it's been great. So yeah, it's been a hell of a ride for the past 10 years.
Retcon marks the band's 6th full-length release.
We've never really had a label or anything, and we don't really make money from the band, but we also don't lose money from the band. So, you know, the output is a little slower, but as a result, we're able to steadily produce an album every 2 years, and it feels good to have a discography. That's honestly been like a goal of mine, is just to have a discography, a body of work.
Wine Sauce YouTube channel commands over 1.2 million followers. How does that translate to fans of Red Fox's music?
My band is definitely not as known as my streaming, but lately now people are discovering the band and then they watch the streams and they're like, wait a minute, this guy is very silly. This is not the guy I thought he was. But it all works together, and in the year of 2026, I feel like having multiple creative outlets is kind of a good thing.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Bring home the win or don't come back.
Season 2 of Fox's Extracted pushes the survival experiment further with brutal conditions in the wild and cutthroat gameplay inside headquarters.
Buckle up because there's just, I feel like, so many twists and turns. When you're playing a game for $250,000, you got to do what you got to do.
It is not going to be kind. It's going to be hard, difficult, anything you could even imagine.
Knock, knock. Two-time Survivor winner Sandra Diaz-Twine and Big Brother and the Challenge alum Annalise Talavera lean on their experience to navigate the intense strategy inside HQ.
If you've seen Big Brother or the Challenge before, you know a lot of lying and manipulating, is in those shows. And I feel like in HQ, there was definitely some of that. So kind of being a gamer, quote unquote, made it just come more natural to me. So it definitely prepared me 100%.
Sandra is from Survivor.
For Sandra, her reputation changes the game the moment she walks in.
There's always one person that knows who you are, but this time around, I believe it was 3 that off the bat, or 4 that immediately knew who I was. And a lot of times they're like, why is she here? Oh, this is gonna be bad. I tried to lay as low as possible, because I don't want to turn any of the other alliances off. I want them to say, okay, she's not that bad. Let's give her a shot, but I am cutthroat.
She says families come in ready to fight from day one.
The families know that they're going to have to push it into high gear right away because no one's playing for seconds.
They're trying to kill us on season 2.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Take a look at a terrifying near miss caught on camera in Florida. The video was shared by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and shows a Florida Highway Patrol trooper and a Volusia County deputy helping a disabled vehicle when they say they heard an approaching car hit the roadside rumble strips, prompting them to jump clear just as the vehicle missed them by inches, slamming into the car. The Post said emergency lights were flashing and both officers had reflective vests on, but despite being, quote, lit up like a Christmas tree, the driver still came right at them. No one was seriously injured in the incident, and officials are now using it to reiterate what most drivers should already know: if you see flashing lights, move over. Hopefully everybody is staying safe amidst some of the worst weather of the season, and while the freezing temps and prodigious precipitation ain't exactly a sight for sore eyes, it is producing some pretty memorable sights, like this surreal shot captured by a photographer in Tennessee showing a tree split nearly perfectly down the middle, likely by a weighty wintry mix courtesy of the ice storm. You know what they say, it's all fun and games until somebody loses a limb. Speaking of fun and games, while most of us were hunkered down, thick-skinned Iowans were out in droves in the driven snow, proving they ain't scared of a little cold at the 46th Annual University of Okoboji Winter Games. KTIV reports thousands took part in the local tradition, which sports a 5K, a fundraiser, food, games, kite flying, and more. Organizers say it's about getting people out of their homes to combat the near-negative temperatures with positive attitudes.
It's our model for the weather. Bring it on.
For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Did you know that you can get weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus? Here's how. Go to Fox 54 Plus on your Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, or Samsung. Once you're on the main screen, push the down arrow and click on the Fox 54 Plus Weather Impact 24/7 block. Here, you'll find radar, current temperatures and conditions, traffic cams, forecasts, and more, all available on demand. Want to get back to the main channel? Just push the down arrow and click on the 24/7 stream button. It's your weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus. Start streaming today.
Fox 54 Plus has your news, sports, and weather. Start your evening with Fox 54 at 5:30, delivering the latest headlines and live reports straight from the scene. Then, stay informed with Fox 54 News at 9, featuring your Tennessee Valley certified most accurate weather impact team, tracking everything from tornado threats to traffic delays during severe weather. Fox 54 Sports Extra brings you more of what sports fans crave, with deeper insights, expert analysis, and all the action that matters most. On Fox 54 Plus, you'll also find Alabama politics, plus 24/7 weather radar and real-time forecasts to keep you ahead of the storm. Looking for a quick recap? Don't miss Fox 54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush, fast-paced news updates featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True crime warrior style? Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look, to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app, available on Android and iOS devices, streaming 24/7.